look at the evaluation with Raintree, and we're going to look at the subjective section here. As I said before, all the things that we have with Raintree, there's more options than we might really need on this day for this particular patient. We'll talk about the medical history a little bit, but they're going to basically fill out a form right now. So when you're reviewing the form, you can use some of this to fill in the database, in these database fields, or do it yourself. But, pick a few. You don't have to pick everything along this list, but, if the patient's coming in with, pain. The stylus is a little tricky over here to get this in swelling. We can just pick pain and swelling, and states she is having difficulty walking. Occupation only if she had an occupation where it was being affected, or a workman's compensation injury. Then you would talk about what they have as far as full duty and everything. But I would that's a workman's comp. Otherwise, I would leave it blank because you're not going to have to worry about it. So then history of symptoms, patient has had long-term osteoarthritis of right knee and enters the clinic. Status post, right total knee replacement. Then date of injury or surgery. Let's say date of injury, and surgery might be kind of the same thing, right? Because the date of injury, if she had surgery on the 5th, would be the same date of surgery. Where some people, if they fractured their limb on the 5th and then, had surgery a week later, that's how you would do it. That's pretty self-explanatory. Pain level, she's having constant pain. You can say if it's aggravating or diminishing. You can fill whatever radio buttons you want in here, and then you say, it's a dull ache, and at best it's 2, and at worst it's 5. We can go with onset and current, how's your pain right now? Today I'm at about a 3, so I'll do 3. Is your sleeping affected? No. Okay, then we don't have to worry about that. Is there contraindications? I picked the pick list here, that little green button, because we know that there's probably a protocol, and so you would just say per MD protocol, and then you would hit the save button, which just escaped off to the side of the screen. And then it just says per MD protocol. That's only if you see something huge, you might want to put a precaution if they have diabetes or something like that. Of course, recreational activities, she might be using a single point cane at this time, and then you can say has a lot of steps in her house. Again, there are pick lists down here if you want to pick specific activities. You don't have to, as long as you're keeping it functional. And if you go leisure here, and you can say, plays tennis on the weekends and would like to get back to it. Sorry you can't see that whole section after you do it, but it's unfortunately when they're trying to fit it all on one page, that's just how the database works. There's an adult medical history that might already be done by the patient, or it might not be done. It might be scanned in, and if it's scanned in or you want to look for it, a quick way to do it is that you would hit the F2 button, and if you hit F2, it starts a second Raintree section. It opens up another window. That way you don't have to leave what you're doing, but you're like, oh gosh, I want to check out Jane Raintree's medical history. They might have scanned it in. So then I go and look for Raintree. And find her. And if I select her as a patient, I can look at patient demographics and go over to scanning, and there might be something scanned in there. And it would say medical history. And then you would double click on it and it would show what was scanned. If there was an image that was scanned in there, the image would be showing up right here. And that way you could quickly look at the medical history if that was the case. Then what I'm going to do is escape out of this. So I'm just hitting the escape key, hitting exit, and that brings me back to my evaluation. So I just hit F2 to go to a different part of Raintree quickly so I wouldn't have to exit all the way out. So it's just a quick way to get there. Patient goals, we'd like to put a couple in, probably decreasing pain and increased function. And then, you know, where I said she likes to play tennis on the weekend, likes to play tennis or would like to get back to tennis. As far as the problem list is concerned, every time you do it, you'd have to enter a comment. So if I were you, I would just, you know, mention the top two. You know, maybe it was pain, but we've already mentioned pain. Maybe we haven't addressed swelling. Maybe we can talk to her mobility. You know, if we just say strength, you know, or functional strength. If you don't see one that you like there, you hit the little green button, and I'll put functional strength. And I'll hit OK, and it adds functional strength. I hit the space bar, or apparently that didn't work. I just hit that, and it's fine. And maybe we want to improve range of motion. I think we're going to get better at these, commenting on what these are. And again, that comment box is small, and I want them to make it bigger. But we'll get better at these once we progress further in the program. So then, you know, has trouble going up steps or stairs. And then that shows up there. So questionnaires we'll get to later. Again, that's another feature, as with the problem list that we're having, that I want to develop more fully as we get into Raintree. So I'm going to stop this recording here.